We're going to get kicked off right at the start here. I know we're still allowing several other people to kind of join in on the wait or that are in the waiting room. I do want to say hello and welcome. My name is Misty Stutzman-Fox. For those of you who do not know me, I'm the Director of Entrepreneurship and Small Business at the Daniello Institute for Veterans and Military Families. In that role, I get to oversee over 12 national and international entrepreneurship programs that are designed to meet entrepreneurs where they are on their journey. I'm a strong believer in teamwork makes the dream work. We can't do this without our amazing partners that help us set a new bar every day, but also push us to really bring those resources to veterans at the least amount of time. So that right resource in the least amount of time. I do also want to put a highlight on, it is National Manufacturing Month, and we know that there's a lot that goes into that, and that small businesses have been the engine of the America for a very long time. And frankly, y'all have been through a lot in the past few years. So we partnered with our amazing friends at Walmart this month to bring this webinar together to talk about the changing landscape of U.S. manufacturing, but also talk about how Walmart's investing in jobs. As you know, at IVMF, we have 4 pillars. So we have onward opportunity and entrepreneurship and our community coordinated care through SERVES, and of course, our research arm. So bringing that all together today to talk to amazing leaders, Amy, Julie, and of course, the veteran-owned business, Roger, about their experiences and all of this. The way today will kind of be laid out is that after I stand between you and brilliance, we'll turn it over to our partners to do their introductions. We have a quick video that we'll play before that. From there, I have some guided conversation. And what that simply means is y'all sent in a lot of questions in your registration, which is perfection. So we're going to just start working through a lot of those questions so that we can get you the answers that you need. From there, we'll have a couple of Q&As that'll come in from the audience. So if you have questions, feel free to message us or put them in the chat, but we'll address a few of those. And then we'll wrap up right at 15 before the hour so that you have enough of a break to go to your next important meeting. You will get a summary email that will have a slide that will show here at the end where you can get more information about the things that we talk about today. You'll also get that summary email that'll have some important upcoming events that you may need to know about as entrepreneur owners themselves. So very excited to have everyone on today. And thanks again so much for joining us. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to our amazing partners at Walmart and of course our veteran business, Roger, to introduce themselves. First, though, we'd like to show a quick video. Walmart has done a lot to work and highlight the work of veteran-owned businesses. I was able to actually join their open call in Bentonville, and it was amazing to see a lot of IVMF graduates down there, and even more veteran-owned businesses that have really experienced some great success in their partnership. So we want to highlight that first and then turn it over in introduction. So Ashley, I'll turn it over to you to run that video and we'll go from there.
When I was in the military, the purpose is bigger than you. We wanted to create a brand that was bigger than us.
And that to me is the beauty of Grind. Our toothpaste supports many, many more vets. And having Walmart as a partner expands everything that Grind's about.
It provides more opportunity for us to hire veterans and military spouses.
Making a difference, supporting our veterans. It's a win-win.
Being partnered with Walmart, it's not just life-changing for me and my team, it's life-changing for a whole lot of others.
Thanks so much. Roger, I'll turn it over to you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company and your role.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Roger Ginnelsberger Jr. I served 20 years in the Army, 13 years in Special Operations with 14 combat tours. I retired in 2017, did a brief stint with Amazon for about 1.5 years. And then by day, currently, I'm a section chief for the Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center here at Hill Air Force Base in Utah. And by night, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Grind. We're the first and only veteran-owned toothpaste company. Glad to be here.
Thank you. And Julie, who I just found out that we have a lot of ties together and we can sing It's a Small World after the webinar, but Julie, I'd love to hear about your role at Walmart as well.
Yeah, thank you all for having us today. I'm honored to be here to get to share a piece of Walmart's mission with you. I have worked for Walmart for the past 12 years in various roles throughout the organization. My current role is my favorite I've ever had, and I work on developing an ecosystem to manufacture in the United States. In short, they call it the Lighthouse Project. So if you hear people talk about that, that's my job.
Yeah, we'll definitely dive into that a little bit later and want to hear more about it. Amy, turning it over to you.
Yes, I thank you for having me. Roger, thank you for your service. For those of you on the call, thank you so much for your service. We appreciate each and every one of you. My name is Amy Fisk. I'm a director in U.S. manufacturing and sourcing, and I lead our reputation efforts. So everything under our Investing in American Jobs initiative, from communication and storytelling, like those really cool stories about Roger and Grind, all the way to Open Call, which we just finished up in June this year. I lead those efforts. I've been with the company for 21 years. I spent some time in the stores and then came to the home office in 2016. Julie, I have to admit, this is also my favorite job, just because who doesn't want to invest in the US, invest in US manufacturing, investing in US companies, small and local businesses. There's just so much behind that and so much pride. So really happy to be here.
Well, it's awesome that you get to live your dream job as well. I think a lot of people, when they get out of college, they're not thinking, or just get out of whatever the first education was, they're not thinking like these type of jobs exist. So to be able to invest in that way is pretty great. I'm going to stick with you for a second, Amy. So I put into very little words about the Walmart's dedication to U.S. manufacturing. I assume that you can speak to it much better than I can. So I'd like to hear you expand a little bit on that dedication to U.S. manufacturing.
I would love that and have to say it's a fantastic question, because Walmart is making transformative investments to strengthen American manufacturing, small businesses, create jobs, provide more value to our customers, our communities. And you know, this dates all the way back to Mr. Sam. Walmart has a long history, long, proud history of supporting products made, grown, or assembled in the US. You'll hear me say that a lot, so just bear with me. But we have a long history. And under Mr. Sam's leadership, we started a Bring It Home to the USA program. And to quote Mr. Sam, our primary goal became to work with American manufacturers and see if our formidable buying power could help us deliver the products and in the process, save American manufacturing jobs. And it worked. So fast forward to 2013, we came in and said, you know, let's put a number on this. Let's claim this, publicly state that we're going to invest $250 billion with a B, $250 billion in products made, grown, or assembled in the US under a 10-year commitment. And that 10-year commitment was supposed to wrap up by the end of this year. And we actually finished that commitment early. We finished that commitment just last quarter. So we knew we were going to finish that commitment early. So we said, you know, guess what? We're going to recommit. We're going to recommit $350 billion under another 10-year commitment to invest in products made, grown, or assembled in the US. And that investment has so much more potential than we've known. So we committed that back in March of 2021, and we are on track to have just a great another 10 years, if you will. So that's what we're doing. I also want to spend a little bit of time on why we do it. Just a few reasons. Sourcing locally helps us create American jobs. So our commitment to American manufacturing, it's catalyzed the expansion of businesses across the country. Sourcing locally also helps grow small businesses like those that are probably on the call today. Our commitment to American manufacturing rewards the ingenuity, vision, hard work of entrepreneurs from small suppliers, from diverse backgrounds. It really gives them a roadmap to really celebrate their hard work. And then it's good for our customers and our communities. We source domestically, when we source domestically, we have shorter lead times, more reliable supply chains, results in more affordable prices and fresher product to our customers. And the best part of all of it, it's less impact on the environment. Local suppliers know the customer, they know the customer preference, they know what they want. And we know that U.S. manufacturing matters a lot to our shoppers. Did you know more than 85% of our customers have said it's important for retailers to carry products made, grown, or assembled in the U.S.? So that's a little bit of the what and the why, but always looking for ways to amplify businesses, always looking for ways to invest. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here at Walmart.
I think it's really impressive to hear those goals that you hear from Walmart that, we hit our goal. And so we set a bigger one. I think, I heard along the way that, if your dreams don't scare you, are they big enough? And so I think in that case, like that's a huge number when you start talking in billions with the B and the impact that can make for small businesses. You talked a lot. I mean, just creating jobs and shipping costs down, listening to your customers. 85% of us said we want made in the USA. And you said, great, we're not just going to source it, we're going to empower it. So I'd like to hear more, about some of those benefits, and also kind of talk a little bit about, Julie, what you mentioned at the top, the lighthouse discussion, and just to hear what does that mean for small businesses?
Yeah, I would love for Julie to take this on. I will just say that just to expand on a $350 billion commitment, we say items made, grown, or assembled in the US, but we know that there's potential to impact so much more than that. We support the creation of more than 750,000 new American jobs. We claim that this commitment will avoid more than 100 million metric tons of CO2 emissions by working with suppliers to shift to the US. We say it will advance the growth of US-based diverse suppliers, and then also provide opportunities for more than 9,000 entrepreneurs to become Walmart suppliers and sellers through Walmart's annual open call, which is how Roger came to meet with Walmart. But those are just a few other things. And then along with the $350 billion commitment, we said, hey, you know what? Let's use our size and scale to impact so much more than that. So we came up with the American Lighthouses, and Julie is the expert in American Lighthouses. So I'll kick it to you.
Thanks, Amy. So a piece of the whole puzzle is why and how, right? And so Walmart said, how can we help stimulate this in a different way? And the Lighthouses for American Manufacturing from Walmart were born. And within this, we're working on 5 different areas specifically to try to figure out how we build out this ecosystem. We work on textiles, pharmaceuticals, plastics, metals, machinery, and food processing. And some pieces of it we spend more time on. So I spend a significant amount of time today on textiles, trying to figure out how we pull together an end-to-end supply chain. And also I spend a lot of time on pharmaceuticals, trying to figure out how we make more medicines in America. But within that, we needed to figure out what the landscape looked like. So we work with universities like NC State for textiles. So they're the largest education system in the United States today for the textile industry. And so we work with them to say, where are the barriers within manufacturing and how can Walmart help unlock those and to create this circularity within the supply chain? And because we see people can do and execute well pieces of the puzzle, but there's not a lot of circularity throughout the entire supply chain. So we're trying to figure out how do we as Walmart help enable that? And it's really cool to see that the parts that are coming together to really make that work.
To kind of dig in on, I guess, the opportunities for collaboration. I know a lot of the folks are on the call today wondering, how can I collaborate as a product owner with the manufacturer? And Roger, you might have also kind of experienced this a little bit. But Julie, to kind of dig in on that a bit, can you discuss the opportunities for collaboration between the product owners, in this case, the businesses and manufacturers as well?
Yeah, I would love to. So within the supply chains, we really see that there's kind of some vulnerabilities that need to be addressed. to pull everything together. And one of the largest barriers that I see is just communication. So that hits right on this, right? Because if you look at pieces of the supply chain, people don't talk to each other all the way through. They talk to the person who takes the next piece of the supply chain, right? So in textiles, we see, okay, the cotton farmers talk to the yarn spinners and the yarn spinners talk to the knitting mills, but then they don't talk to who's actually purchasing the product in the end. So communication is hard, right? We see that in all aspects of life. It's hard. And so we're trying to say, how do we connect that? And so from an opportunity to collaborate, one of the biggest things I encourage people to do is get out there and talk to people and ask questions and learn what it takes to get from one end of your supply chain to the other. And by making those connections, even if you find the wrong person in the supply chain, you've at least met somebody else within your supply chain. And you're building that network because maybe someday their piece will fit with yours. So I think probably the largest way and the quickest way to get there is to just open up that communication chain between people. And I'll share a quick example of how we see this happen. Walmart just announced that there's a cut and sew facility dedicated to US manufacturing. So they're going to be sewing garments that you can buy in Walmart. So how cool is that you're going to be able to buy shirts made in the US at Walmart. As we were working through this though, we realized that they know how to manufacture the item, but they couldn't figure out how you ship the item within the United States. And so my team came in and we said, okay, let's look at the real problem. And it's that they had been an offshore manufacturer, so they weren't connected to a cardboard manufacturer in the United States. So we were able to connect them so that way they can buy the box to ship the item, right? So you have to figure out how you put these pieces together and how you open that communication chain. And that's what we're working to do, is to connect the supply chain through that. And so when you look at these opportunities for collaboration, right, there's all these pieces that can come together.
So Roger, I'm going to turn it to you for a second, kind of building off of what Julie was just talking about. As you look at, I'm sure as you started paving your road as an entrepreneur, and you started your company and you were setting up your manufacturing, everything went completely smoothly and you hit no barriers whatsoever, had no challenges. It was super easy, but probably not. And back to what Julie was saying is that it takes that entire network or that team and that connectivity to be able to power through that. Can you talk about maybe some of the challenges you faced, maybe some of the small wins, and how was it, or how did you rely on your partners and your network to kind of move through those pieces as well?
Yeah, I wish there was an easy button and it just went straight through smooth sailing, but that was not the case. We had a few different challenges that we faced right out of the gate. We spent our first 9 months in research and development, and some of that time was dealing with supply chain issues, ingredients. Towards the end, we knew what we knew the formula we wanted. We had picked 29 ingredients. So obviously, that came with a lot of additional vendors that had to supply those ingredients, and then that was a problem getting to production because we were slammed in the middle of COVID. There were supply chain issues on top of supply chain issues. Some are out of ingredients, some have the ingredients, but they can't ship them because they can't get the trucks to ship them. So we worked our way through that challenge, only to get to production delays with hand sanitizer taking priority over anything else. So our manufacturer delayed us, said, hey, we're not pushing anything but hand sanitizer for the next X amount of time. So you're getting bumped. And then, rightfully so, but we went through that. And then when we got through production, we ran 30,000 units, brought them all to my house and, logistically in an SUV, not optimal. So a lot of trips back and forth, only to find out we had quality issues with our first run with the wrong tube. So we picked a tube that we loved and it looked good, felt good. But it scratched very easily. So we kicked it all back to the manufacturer, took it all back, reran the entire run, 30,000 new units, logistics nightmare. Took a lot of time to get through, but yeah, that was some challenges we ran through. But then there were some successes. We realized, on top of that, the vision for our brand and where we wanted to go, I couldn't do it alone. So I reached out and found a dentist, a celebrity dentist, Dr. Jay Grossman, who's also a military veteran, who served, and so he's on our team. And then we were able to partner with NFL veteran Marcus Ogden, NBA star Cole Anthony recently, and then our new partnership with Walmart. We're super excited about where things will go from here, and yeah, just very excited.
I love hearing the story. Well, I love hearing the stories about like, and then I had to move things in my truck. If you ever heard from, there's Matt Griffin with Combat Flip Flops and him talking about having to get his flip flops. And the story that he tells about that truck too. It's a humbling, but it's something that a lot of military veterans face when they are in entrepreneurship. You touched on something that was really interesting there too about your celebrity dentist, who's also a military veteran. I heard one time on a panel, someone discussed that if military veterans treated prior service like an alumni group, so if you went to Oklahoma State University, you're not scared to reach out to another alumni to be like, hey, see that we both enjoyed Stillwater, can we talk about this? But I think the same thing about that shared past of military service too, and using that as a connectivity to kind of work together is really important. So really cool to hear that as well. I do also want to talk about, we talked about open call at the beginning and how amazing open call is. I got to experience it in person for the first time just this year. I was able to go down to Bentonville to see it. So, and you talked about even down to just thinking about that tube of toothpaste, and this one scratches too easily. So now I have to think about something else. So there's a lot that goes into it anytime you want to be retail ready or shelf ready for anything. But can you talk a little bit about what made you decide to kind of throw your hat in for open call and share a little bit about your experience there as well?
Yeah, for sure. So I call Walmart the shelf. And I don't know if anybody else does, but it is the shelf. Like there's no bigger shelf. It's the world's largest retailer. So that was our goal from day one is, eventually we want to make it to Walmart, and not just make it to Walmart, but grow with Walmart. So we applied back in 2020 for open call, and then again in 21. We weren't selected, but we were super early. Like when I applied in 2020, we hadn't even gone to production yet. And then 21, we were still super early as well. Although we weren't selected, we made it into Walmart Marketplace. We continued to grind, right? And then in 22, we applied for open call again. This time we did it differently. There was an optional question in there for a video, and we didn't leave anything to chance. So anything that was optional, we went with the mindset it's required, and that's the way we took it. And we analyzed everything throughout the application and put our best foot forward, hit submit. And then we got the email that we had made the cut, and we were going to be invited out to pitch one-on-one 30 minutes with a Walmart merchant. Huge. It's an email I'll save for sure. And then it was all about preparation at that point, just getting ready for it, right? So a lot of preparation went into it. Flew out it was a 2-day event, flew out for day one. Day one was awesome. It was awesome, but I was sitting, just to describe it, I'm sitting in a room with 400 other amazing entrepreneurs with amazing products, all with the same goal, same mission, get on the shelf. So that was, a humbling experience, very, very unique. And Walmart does a really good job of preparing you on day one for day two. And then day two, pitch day came quick, right? So it was there before you knew it. We had our time slot. We had our location down where we had to be, what time. And then being military, I went and reconned it. I went early. So I went an hour early, and luckily I did. I think it was a blessing in disguise. They let me in the room. There was nobody going to be in the room before me, so they let me in the room to set up early. And worked out some kinks with setup, and I was set up to pitch for that one-on-one. And then 5 Walmart merchants walked in the room. I was set up to pitch to 2. I said, okay, if I'm pitching to 1, let me make sure it's 2. Let me plan for 2 just in case somebody else walks in. Well, 5 walked in, and then they gave me 5 minutes. Say, hey, we're early. We'll give you 5 minutes to set up. So I quickly reestablished the room for 5. Luckily, I had a big screen. I didn't have enough printouts, but I had enough toothpaste, and that was the important piece. So did the pitch. At the end of it, the lead merchant asked me what I had hung on the wall behind me. So I looked back, gave it a look. I didn't see anything. I looked at him again. I said, I'm sorry. And I looked back again, and then he was holding this up as soon as I turned around. So can't make it up. It was an awesome event. Afterwards, quickly called the wife, but it was, and that was a moment too. You know, she was nervous and she didn't want to take the flight with me, but I immediately called her, let her know the good news. She was crying with, you know, happiness. But then it was a whirlwind. There was some press, cameras, immediately following. So it was all in. It was a great experience. One we'll never forget, but you know, it's just the beginning.
You saved your tickets.
I know, that's what I was about to say. I was like, first of all, I'm surprised that that's not like framed somewhere, but that's amazing too, that you saved your ticket and that you have it right there. I think the golden ticket means right that you're in effectively.
Mhm.
So, and I think that's a huge moment. We saw a couple of those too while we were down in Bentonville, and just the pure pride that you see, because Roger, you talked about it. You've applied before and then you're getting in. I've heard it from other folks. You know, I applied once, and we know when it comes to capital, right? If veterans apply to capital and they're denied at a higher rate than their civilian counterparts, they don't go back because they almost take it as an order, like, okay, I'm out. Sorry, thanks for, but it's that persistence that, you know, okay, I fixed what I need to fix, and then I'm coming back and I'm gonna do it this time. And I think that just seeing how the family kind of goes back and invest in you, and now here you are. So that's amped. That's really cool, really encouraging as well. I agree with you, Delphine, on what you just said. For those of you who might not have access to the chat, I do want to point out there's a lot of questions about, so how do I join in on Open Call? How can I be in this super cool group? Amy, can you discuss at the hype, like where at the top where people can go?
Okay, first of all, I want to say that on Open Call this year in June, we scheduled more than 1,300 meetings in the one day, which accounted for nearly 1,000 suppliers that all did the same thing Roger did. Maybe not the same thing, but all applied, all got ready for their pitch. Not everybody makes, and you know, we're pretty transparent about that. Walmart is big, and there's things that you have to think about when you're going in for that pitch. And it's, you know, a buyer has to pull a product off the shelf to put mine on. So how do I make my product stand out? And then there's those few that do, not everybody gets a deal, but there's those few that do get a deal. So I think, Roger, you give yourself a pat on the back and a round of applause and all of the things that go with it, because that's a huge deal, especially in a category with a you know, a P&G or a Colgate, or, you know, those suppliers, those bigger suppliers that are on the shelf. And I think your story it gave me chills when you told it, because that's not everybody walks away with that. And when you do, you have to celebrate those moments, but then also take a step back and go, now the hard work begins. I mean, it is Walmart, and we do have, you know, more than 4,700 stores, and the growth with Walmart it can be beyond, but it's a lot of hard work. So congratulations to you. You were fantastic. Great story. Everybody's saying it in the chat. Great story. Very inspiring. So very, very well done. You should be very proud. But yes, you can apply for Open Call. I sent in the chat a link to our Jump website. Misty, I believe you all are going to share some information after the call as well to the Jump website. You'll hear me talk about the Jump website a lot on this call as well. But next year, we're looking to spice things up a little bit, because it's our 10-year anniversary and it's going to be amazing. But definitely stay tuned, stay engaged on our Jump website, because we'll host all of our communication there. I'll also selfishly plug that we are powered by RangeMe. So if you wanted to set up a free account with RangeMe, just to get on the communication list, just to kind of get your brand out there, you can also do that, because the majority of the communication does come through RangeMe. But our Jump website is totally free, no ads. You can join. You can also check out some really cool stories different sizzle reels and things that we've done to highlight suppliers like Grind, like Roger. So definitely stay tuned on Jump.
Hey, Amy,
And
there's,
go
there's
for
a
it, Julie,
question
sorry.
that just came through chat that I want to throw to you. The person's asking, can sellers consider selling on Marketplace and then doing open call?
I love that question, actually. You should start on Marketplace. Marketplace should be where your journey starts. So if you are not selling on Marketplace, I will, I'll have to pull, maybe Julie, you have it, but I'll have to pull the link to sell. You can also access that link on our Jump website to become a supplier Marketplace seller. But you should start there. Get started, get your business established. Roger, I don't know if you can expand on how important it was to come into a meeting with a Walmart merchant and say, here's my customer reviews, here's my sales, here's how people are shopping, here's how I make an impact online. And, you know, that drives a totally different conversation with the merchant. So to answer that, long-winded, yes, sign up for Marketplace. You should absolutely be on Marketplace.
Yeah, this is Roger. I'll just tag on if I may. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's super important to be on Marketplace if your intention is to be on a Walmart shelf. I mean, that's what we did for nearly 2 years prior. We were on Marketplace, building up our brand on there, and I think it helped. You know, we were able to show reviews, real reviews from real buyers on Marketplace, literally asking for it to be sold locally. So, you know, we highlighted that in our pitch as well. So just another aspect that can help you along the way. It can't hurt.
Roger, I mean, I love hearing about the reviews and whatnot. I encourage all of y'all to also, I mean, if you're looking for the best way to support other veteran-owned businesses, it's with your network and with your wallet. So, right, time, treasure, talent. So definitely go out there, get some Grind toothpaste, but also look at some of the other veteran-owned businesses too that are doing that. Did you have any input or just help when you were thinking of from folks that you're working with when you're thinking about putting together your pitch, or did you just all this brilliance come to you in a dream one day, or how did you kind of tackle that that idea?
Well, being in the military, I had my fair share of PowerPoint slides I had to build. I'm sure that people on the call can relate. They call it PowerPoint Ranger tab. So I was tabbed out in that regard, and I think that skill helped, right? The death by PowerPoint, yes. But yeah, that helped because I spent a lot of time and revisions on, you know, and a lot of research on what buyers look at. I mean, if you dig out there, you can find it. It's not easy to find, but there's some stuff out there that talks about, you know, what to put in your pitch deck, what, you know, and then you got to put yourself in the buyer's seat. Like, what do they want to hear? Because there's so much you can tell them, but you know, you only have 30 minutes and you got to leave time for Q&A. So you can't tell them everything, and you've got to be really, really brief, you know, consistent in what you want to get out, and then be gone and leave it to them to decide. So a lot of prep and preparation, but yeah.
Roger, you took one of my favorite sayings right out of my mouth. I always like to say, you got to be brief, you got to be brilliant, and you got to be gone. And here you are. Be brief, be brilliant, be gone. So I've also heard that if two smart people, so I'm going to count myself in that one too, I guess, say the same thing, that you should listen to it. So Amy, I also like that one. See, there's all sorts of new ones. You can learn new things every day. We had a lot of questions that came in through the registration that I want to address in the few minutes that we have left before we kind of wrap everything up here. Several questions about is open call really the only way to get into products into Walmart stores, or is there other information that we can provide? And if they're there, how do they expand on those locations? Amy, I'll turn kind of that over to you. And then I have a couple more questions, and then we can wrap up all this fun. And I will address for all y'all asking, like, where do I get more information, things like that, in the wrap up email that you'll see there.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, there is a journey for Walmart. Open call obviously is the greatest. Roger, I hope you shake your head, but it's the greatest day of the year. So definitely look for open call, look for any communication on open call. But you can become a supplier at any time. We definitely recommend, like I said earlier, start on Marketplace. That'll really get your foot in the door. But you can apply to be a supplier for Walmart at any time. And all of that information can be accessed through our Jump website. It's actually named Become a Supplier. Get in there, learn more about what that takes. There are requirements to become a Walmart supplier. We have all of that information readily available for you, but you don't have to wait for open call. We would love to see you at open call, but at the same time, don't wait. If you're ready, get yourself out there because it's possible.
And then we know the other part of it is to, well, two things. One, I know that there was some questions as well about other opportunities within Walmart. We have a slide at the end that has an awesome QR code so you can see several different links. You'll see that right at the end, so hang with us, but we'll also be sharing that with you. So never fear, you'll see it twice in case you miss out on pulling out your phone. Amy, I know that as we start to look at capital access, it's one of the top 3 challenges for entrepreneurs, specifically for veteran entrepreneurs. So a lot of questions around, what can I do to access capital or how I can do that. I know Walmart doesn't necessarily do the finance side, but do you know, or do you have tips on where folks can go if they're curious about that topic?
Yeah, we actually do have programs for our Walmart suppliers, early payment programs, diverse owned business programs. We offer a lot to the current supplier base that we work with. But we also, going back to one of the original questions, how do product owners collaborate, as part of that collaboration, like understanding how to engage with your local and state government resources, how to engage in small business association. There are several resources out there, and we have just a few on our Jump website, but there are so many resources out there for capital matchmaking events and different things that you all can become part of to gain access to capital, financing resources, all of that. So I would just selfishly plug again to make sure you check out the Jump website.
So definitely we'll be sending a link out to the Jump website. Also, y'all, this is Roger talked about network, Amy talked about network, Julie talked about network, and talked about it in different ways and how to access it. But we don't just say teamwork makes the dream work because it rhymes, but we say it because this whole idea of this network and this ecosystem, different people are going to do different things for you. They'll be at their first best use, if you will. And so some of those folks are first best use capital access, some of them first best use capability statements, some of them first best use pitch readiness, and so on and so forth. So definitely be open to, don't be a no new friends type person, be a I'd like new friends type person, so that we can expand that for you. Kind of wrapping this up until I go so that I can kind of share a little bit about the wrap up, that the email that they'll get. So we know that it's different right now. It's uncertain times, if you will. It's kind of, I think people have always said, life before COVID, after COVID, are we during COVID? What's happening? So with all that's facing small business, why do you think now's the time to invest in U.S. manufacturing? Furthermore, if there's any other thoughts or quotes, mantras, books, podcasts, or anything you'd like to leave folks with, I'd like to just do a round robin real quick of the panelists. Anyone can go first.
Yeah, I would love to take that first, right? As I've dedicated this part of my life to figuring out U.S. manufacturing, and I think now you're seeing just an increased need for it, right? We need a sure supply chain, right? And that's what we're really focused on, is how do you create that, and then how do we do that while investing in American jobs? And from a Walmart perspective, we're really passionate about that. But I think the more you talk to people, you see that it's not exclusive to Walmart, that people are passionate about this and trying to figure this out. And so that's a lot of the why that we see.
I would say the impact on communities. I mean, we talk about, investing in manufacturing, claiming items made, grown, or assembled, but look at the communities you impact. I mean, you can find a ton of stories that we've currently told on our corporate website, America at Work, even Jump website, but the communities that you impact. I mean, Roger, where you're from, how you manufacture, what you're pulling in. I mean, everything impacts the community that you serve. So I think it's just, if we're not already focused on that, we should definitely be focused on the communities that we all serve.
Yeah, this is Roger. I'll just piggyback off that real quick, if I may. I mean, it hits home for us because we're mission driven. We're mission driven to give back to the veteran community, and in a few ways that we want to do it with growth. We want to hire military veterans, and we want to hire military spouses. And if I was pulling the trigger and just purchasing from China, for example, I wouldn't be able to do that, right? And there's logistics issues with that anyway. So, I mean, we want and need to manufacture in the U.S. That's our long-term goal, and it'll help us with our mission along the way.
I love hearing that. Ashley, I know that there's a slide that we're going to pull up here in the end so that people can reference. If you want to go ahead and pull that up while I'm talking. First and foremost, thank you very, very, very much to our panelists today. I think what was really interesting is we got to hear not only about about how you can get involved in Walmart, what the options are there, et cetera, but also the why. And I think that continued service after service is something that's really important to veterans. That's why we see them go into entrepreneurship at higher rates. And Roger, what you just said, they hire veterans and military spouses at higher rates. They actually, fun fact, pay them more than their civilian counterparts as well, and have a much higher spending than a lot of folks too. So I think it's really, really cool to hear about all of this, but also to hear about how Walmart's really taking a large lead and actually investing in how to get this done, and not just saying, hey, it's a good thing, because I think that would be easy. It's what a lot of companies, sign off on and say, it's just good. We should all just do this, but that investment is huge. For those of you who are really thinking about tools and how you can access different pathways, look at Find a Future. It's something that the IVMF has partnered with Walmart on. It's a really, really cool area that you can kind of see all different pathways to include not only entrepreneurship and small business, but also career and otherwise. You're also looking for jobs. I mean, this is another great jump portal. So go check that one out. And America at Work, go check out those links. In summary, you're going to get all of this information in an email. So never fear. If you were registered, if you didn't keep up with the chat that was just popping off, you will get all of the links. You will also get a really cool video that was shared with me about the wrap up to Open Call, so that if you want to get FOMO about it and want to feel what it was like to be there and see all the cool things, we have a video that you can share that one. And also, we just saw an email in there that Amy posted about USA jobs at walmart.com. So if you have any questions, there's an actual contact. So there's like people that monitor that, like real people, real pulses. So I think that'll be great too. So I do just want to say thanks again to everyone. We'll get all this information summarized. A couple tips that I'm going to take from this is you heard folks talk about that network over and over and over again. So please, please, please think about this. And if I had to give you an action item, go look in your network to see who has been successful maybe at Open Call, or who you need to talk with in your supply chain today, and pick up the phone, DM them on LinkedIn. You get free LinkedIn as veteran, LinkedIn premium. So make sure that you do that. So thanks again to all of our panelists. We'll have information out to y'all shortly. We really appreciate it.